Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm checking out Real Drone Simulator. This is a new quadcopter simulator that is out there for free. You can download it from realdronesimulator.com. Now, it was a subscriber that made me aware of this simulator that goes by the name of Multirotor Go. Thanks so much for them for making me aware of this. Now, they are calling this a pre-alpha release, which means that it's expected to be very buggy and there's going to be lots of updates, so maybe don't judge it too harshly, so I won't. Now, the one thing that I struggled with this straight out the door was setting it up with my Tyrannus, so I've had to do a really unorthodox setup with it, and I will take you through that. To get this up and running, I changed the throttle to the rudder, the aileron to the throttle, the elevator stays the same, and the rudder to the aileron. So we've got these percentages here, so if I go in there, so if I press enter, and then enter again and edit, you see there that we've got the weight as 51 and the offset as 57. If I exit out of there and then down to the next one, and then edit, we have got the weight to minus 59 and offset to 49. This was just done through experimenting, by the way. I'm going to exit out of there and then go down to elevator and then edit. We have the weight at 37 and the offset at 50. Just exit out of there and go down to the rudder and then edit. And we have the weight of 40 and the offset at 50. Very strange figures, but it seems to work. So if I just press exit out of there, and if I page over, I didn't change anything on the mixer there. And nothing on the direction either. The only thing that I do have is the throttle trim is slightly higher. So you might have to play around with that. It was very tricky to get it all working, but this seems to work just about right. So now that the transmitter is set up, let's go and check out the simulator and see what we can do with it. So this is the main screen, and we don't have a mouse on the screen here, and there's not a lot that we can do here by the looks of it. If I use the arrow keys here, I can go up and down. It takes 2 presses of the arrow key to change anything, but if I press enter here on options, we just get a beep and nothing happens. Credits, nothing happens, just a beep. So all that we can do at this point is play the game. And we have online multiplayer here. I'm just going to select single player for now. I don't think any of those other options work. Again, I'm going to need to do enter twice. And the aircraft flies off. That's quite nice, this. And then we end up in this other room here where we can go fly. We can exit out of the game. Again, I'm using the arrow keys here. We've got an Emax poster on the wall. Now, this is something that's interesting. I think it's Emax and JJRC have both authorized their aircraft to be used in this simulator. And then if I go over again one more time, we've got Fleet, and we've got the JJRC there, the Nighthawk, and another JJRC. And if I press enter on this, nothing happens. So if I go over again, we've got Workbench, and if I press enter here, it zooms in on the aircraft, but again, nothing happens. I guess this is something that is going to change as they release more versions of it. So if I press escape here, and we've got computer again, and I can't select that either. So let's go and select fly. So we have a couple of other options here. We have virtual reality, which I initially didn't select because I assumed that that was going to give us a VR split screen view, but it doesn't. This is the virtual reality world and then real world. So it looks like that they're going to incorporate some kind of Earth terrain. I don't know if they're going to be using Google Earth or anything like that, or you have to take 360-degree photos. I don't know, but the one that works for the moment is this VR here. You can see here as well at the bottom right, we have this amount of money, and we can gain more money by winning events, I guess, and build aircraft. I think that's the eventual idea of it, but for now, I don't think that is working. So I'm going to press enter here, and that's going to take us to our different levels. So you can see here, choose level. We only have the one level at the moment. You see there at the top, 1 to 9. I assume that they're going to be populated with other tracks, but at the moment we just have this level here, and you can see there that it's quite a big course. So I think I need to press enter again to go into there. So this is the main screen that you get when you load up for the first time. We have an on-screen display at the side there, so position X, Y, Z. I think that's just where you are in this imaginary world. I can't really take much from that. Rotate X, Y, and Z, that is your roll, yaw, and pitch axis. And then we've got rotor torque. Now that's your throttle. We have camera, smooth following view, so we've got different camera views there, and we change the view by pressing C. So if I press C there, we have a different camera view, that is angle following view, and we'll go through all these in a bit. And we have the FPV view, and a view on the top there, and we have line of sight view as well, which is going to be quite good for learning to fly with, say, this aircraft here, which is the JJRC H5C. It says at the bottom now. Let's just get back to that view. So we have the battery level, which just seems to be a timer rather than a voltage readout, and it just ticks down there slowly. I haven't managed to get it to 0, so I don't know what happens there. Signal strength is your RSSI, and that actually does run out, which is cool. We have health there, which is the health of the quadcopter, so you can do a couple of crashes and it'll still fly, but when that gets down to 0, then you'll have to reset. We have the speed, which speaks for itself, the flight mode, which is attitude mode, and we only have the one mode for this aircraft because that's the same for the actual aircraft. We have rate mode high. You can change that. I think, is it W and R that changes that? No, sorry, R resets it. So is it Q, and E? There we go. So E is high and Q is low. But I'll tell you now, the rates are very low in general on this, and that is something that I think they definitely need to improve. So for now, I am keeping it at high. And then we've got the drone there, so we can flip between the drones here using the spacebar. So we have got the Emax Nighthawk 250, the JJRC H8C, and that's wobbling about a bit there. Probably just a bug, and the JJRC H8D. So I am going to choose this one here, which is the Nighthawk 250. So let's just see a couple of the things that we can do if I press escape here. Now we can actually change some settings here. We couldn't on the main menu, but we can here, so we can resume the game. Graphics settings, we can change all sorts of stuff. So you've got FPV noise, which can turn on and off on the camera. Depth of field, all sorts of stuff like that. Shadows, I'm going to go back to the main menu. Audio settings, you can turn the music off. I've done that. Control settings, now I didn't mess with that. I've left this all standard here, but we'll go into there. I've got invert pitch, but none of this really seemed to do anything. So I think this is just another case of it being the pre-alpha there. So I'm going to go back to the previous menu and we can quit the game. So I'm going to resume the game here. So let's go for a flight. First of all, in this mode. So I'm going to throttle up here, and you can see there that we are in stability mode at the moment. Now, the graphics are pretty intense on this. I am running, I think it's about 50 frames per second, of course. That is going down to about 30. I'm recording at the same time here. So what I want to do is, you can see there that we are on attitude mode. Now, I think if we press the number 1 or 2, that's ratitude, and 3 is rate. So now if I take off, I can do a full flip, but that is the full extent of the rates with this quadcopter, and with all the other ones as well. I think we have hit a bug there straight away because I've smacked into a flag there. Oh, there we go, and it's crashed, so I'm going to press reset there. Okay, so I really like this camera follow view. It's kind of like the Microsoft Flight Simulator view. None of the other drone simulators have that. And that is something that I think they all need to get on board with. So next camera view is the same, except the camera tilts with us, like that. And then next one is the FPV view. So let's do a little bit of FPV, and we have this course around here. Now if we hit any tree leaves, nothing happens. But this is a big course that they have given us. So it comes all the way around here, and then you've got a couple of options here, and I think we can go under this log here without crashing, hopefully. And then across around here, underneath these trees, we've got some mist on the go. And, oh, it's so tricky, actually. that comes all the way around here, and then up this hill here, and then all the way around here. Very tricky, but it's kind of cool that, you know, this first release we've got this great track already. So I think we've got a couple of options. We can either go that way or that way. Let's see what happens if we go that way. So let's come around here. I think this simulator is more for flying around rather than doing acro. We'll try and do a bit of acro, but I don't know how good that's going to be. I crashed into a tree, but you see, we have health 43%. It doesn't seem to affect how the quad flies though, which is something that needs to be changed, because all the other simulators you have a little bit of damage and it affects the way the thing flies, but it doesn't on this. So we have this sort of river down here, would you call it? Canyon? Stream? I don't know, whatever. And that comes to a dead end down here. But we have a little gap that we can fly through. I'm going to try and fly through it, should I say. Oh! No, I crashed. Okay, let's reset. Let's try a different view. Oh, just before I do that, if I press escape here and then go onto drone settings, you can see you can change the angle of the camera, which is cool. But I'm going to keep it quite low because I'm not used to this. So back to the main menu, resume the game. Okay, let's change angles to this one. Let's see how I do on this angle. You never get to fly with this angle. Not doing too great so far, already down to 70% health. Now, one thing I should mention is about the controls, right? The quality of the controls compared to a real-life quadcopter isn't very accurate. The way that I would describe it is more like a arcade game. So, if I just let go of the sticks, let's just take it up a bit rather than try and go. If I just let go of the sticks, it doesn't really drift, it just stays in one place, very arcade-like. But, you know, again, I'm trying not to be too harsh on it because it is a very early release. And I don't actually have one of these quadcopters. Maybe the Emax quadcopters do fly a bit like this with a quite lower rate, but there you go. So yeah, we've got a big course here, and another thing, if we fly up here, look, we got some clouds. Alright, the graphics start to go a bit crazy when you get up this high, but we can go higher up. And you see we're getting a low signal there, so I better come down. I really like this view. The graphics are really good for this game. Oops! But I crashed. I dropped down too quickly. And again, that's more of the physics of the game. I think it definitely needs looking at. So let's change to... which one was it? This one, the JJRC H5C. And let's switch camera views to line of sight, because I think this would be good for beginners. Alright, you can just go out and buy one of these JJRCs for a very small price anyway, but you know, to save you from crashing it, you know, it might help you flying nose in like this or something. I don't know. But again, I was talking about that sort of arcadey kind of flying style. Anyone will know who flies a quadcopter that when you take your hands off the sticks, the thing will drift. And look at this, it just stays in one position. So let's try changing to a different quad. And this is another bug when you change quads in that view, it doesn't like it. Let's try that in the line of sight. Oh, it doesn't like that, I crashed already. Oh dear, that's not gone well at all. Let's try and do some acro with it, or something similar. So those are the full rates that you've got, and when I start doing acro, the graphics tend to go a bit crazy. It does jerk a little bit. I'm getting 30 frames per second here, and this is quite a good computer, so you know, very graphics intensive this. Let's follow a couple more of these trails here. Oh dear. Yeah, I really like that we get all of these different trails just in the one map. They've really done that well. There's just so many places to go. So many different trails. There's another one round here. But of course, if we hit any of the leaves of the trees, nothing happens. And then the trees sort of go a bit crazy when we flip over too, like that. You see them go crazy. But there you go. Do some more racing down here. Mind the trees. Let's have a go at going down this gap down here. Oh, we got another trail going up there. Look, up the mountain there. Well, let's turn around. So they've got the sound of the motors quite good on this one. It's usually something that struggles. I'm so gonna hit this. It is really, really thin. Make this wider, guys. I'm just gonna crash down here. Okay, there we go. I made it through. I like it down here. It's cool. So I think that's pretty much all of the features so far, you know, but it's not bad for something that's free. It was difficult to set up on the Tyrannus, but there you go, I managed it. Things that it needs is higher rates. It needs a slight bit of drift when we take our hands off the sticks, because it doesn't do that. But things that are great about it are the camera angles. Really like that. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, really like the camera angles. Really like the fact that they get the manufacturers on board. And they plan on adding things to it, like different quadcopters and stuff, so yeah. There you go, that is my review of Real Drone Simulator RDS. Thanks so much for watching. As always, please continue to subscribe. Cheers.